Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Congress organization in charge and Lok Sabha MP K.C. Venugopal has submitted a privilege notice against Prime Minister Narendra Modi for casting aspersions on opposition members' voting patterns on the constitutional 131st Amendment Bill in his address to the nation on Saturday, calling it a blatant abuse of power and contempt of the House. Now, I'm going to quote exactly what K.C. Venugopal has written in his letter, which he has sent to the Speaker. He has written that in the 29-minute speech termed as Address to the Nation, the Prime Minister criticized opposition parties for blocking the bill and made direct reflections on the voting patterns of members of parliament and attributed motives to them. This is what Venugopal has pointed out in his letter, which he has written to Mr. Om Birla. Then again, he goes on to say that addressing the nation by the Prime Minister on government not able to muster requisite majority in Parliament for criticizing the opposition parties is unprecedented, unethical, and blatant misuse of power. Such statements by the highest executive functionary of the country constitute a serious breach of privilege and contempt of the House. So, in a nutshell, this is what Mr. Venugopal, in his letter to the Speaker, has written. But the problem doesn't end there. Now it's up to the Speaker whether he takes cognizance of this privilege notice which has been sent, because there is a procedure to it. There'll be a privileges committee. If the notice is accepted, there'll be a privileges committee which will sit, which will assess the situation. But will it reach that stage is $1 million question. But regarding the address to the nation, some 700 activists, which includes lawyers, bureaucrats, and a number of citizens, they have written a letter to the Election Commission alleging violation of the Model Code of Conduct by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his national address, which he delivered on the women's reservation on April 18th. Now, if I may show you the copy of that letter, if you have Abhirami, you're there backstage, can we have the copy of that letter which is sent? Yes. So this is the complaint. Just hold it on there. So the subject of the letter very clearly says that the complaint regarding gross violation of the Model Code of Conduct by the Honorable Prime Minister of India in the national address delivered on 18th April. Now, the letter states that, sir, we, the concerned citizens of India, bring to your urgent notice a clear and blatant violation of the Model Code of Conduct by the Honorable Prime Minister of India through the national address delivered on 18th April 2026. Point number 2, the said address was telecast live on official government mass media platforms, including Doordarshan, Sansad TV, and All India Radio, which are funded by the public exchequer. The point number 3 is the use of official government machinery and mass media by the Prime Minister for what amounted to electioneering and partisan propaganda during the operation of the Model Code of Conduct constitutes a serious breach of the Model Code of Conduct. Point number 4, such action provides an undue advantage to the party in power and undermines the level playing field essential for free and fair elections. In this regard, we respectfully draw your attention to the following specific provisions of the Model Code of Conduct for the guidance of political parties and candidates issued by the Election Commission of India, as available on the official website of the ECI. Now, what are the provisions which have been cited in the letter? That's something very important. Point number 1, again, immediately take cognizance of this complaint and initiate an inquiry into the contents and manner of the national address delivered on April 18th. Point number B, examine the transcript, the telecast of the address in light of the above quoted provisions of the MCC. Point number 3, issue appropriate directions and take necessary action against the violation so as to uphold the sanctity of the electoral process and ensure a level playing field for all political parties and candidates. Point number D, inform us of the action taken on this complaint at the earliest. Next point, further, if the said national address was delivered with the prior permission of the Election Commission of India, then equal time on the national media should be provided to the other political parties to present their views, to present their points of view. However, if it was not done with the ECI's prior permission and constitutes a violation of the Model Code of Conduct, the ECI should immediately order the removal of this speech from all official records, government websites, and media platforms and take other suitable deterrent action for the violation. We trust that the Commission will treat the complaint with the urgency and seriousness it deserves in line with its constitutional mandate under Article 324 of the Constitution of India to ensure free and fair elections. And as I told you, there were 700 signatories to this letter, which includes bureaucrats, lawyers, activists, a number of them whose name is quite evident. And one of the signatories is with us today on the program on the federal, former Secretary to the Government of India, Mr. E.S. Sarma is there. Also joining us today on the show is former Lok Sabha Secretary General, Mr. P.D.T. Achari. I welcome both of you, sir. And let me begin with Mr. Achari because I want to talk about the privilege notice first. Mr. Achari, what would you say to the privilege notice which has been sent, and does it really qualify for a privilege case against Prime Minister? You'll have to unmute, sir. Sir, you'll have to unmute.
Yeah. There is actually, can you hear me?
Sir, yes, sir, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. See, what I was saying was that it is actually for the Speaker to decide whether there is a privilege in this notice, whether there is a breach of privilege in this notice. So I leave it to the Speaker to decide because I am nobody to decide that issue. The point is that a notice of breach of privilege has been given by Mr. Venugopal, and therein he has pointed out certain very serious kind of things which happened. The Prime Minister made an address to the nation in which he criticized the members of Parliament who voted against the Constitution Amendment Bill and made speeches against that bill. So the Prime Minister was very critical of them, and he used many words, which of course they have taken objection to. Now, so far as this notice is concerned, so far as privilege is concerned, breach of privilege, what exactly is breach of privilege? Every member of Parliament has the freedom to speak in the House, provided he doesn't violate the rules and the Speaker doesn't remove the words and expressions from his speech. The point is that members of Parliament must be able to speak freely and without any fear. So they can make even very defamatory or libelous attack on somebody outside the House. Nobody can take them to the court for what they speak in the House and also how they vote in the House. So that is a very fundamental privilege enjoyed by members of Parliament and members of other legislatures. Here the members in the opposition vehemently criticized the bill and they voted against it. These are two things which happened in the House, and the Prime Minister was essentially speaking about this only. So he concentrated his attack on the opposition members of Parliament for what they said in the House and also how they voted in the House. So, see, the point is the members of Parliament cannot be criticized for the speech which they make in the House or the vote they give by attributing motives to them. So that is the essence of the breach of privilege. It means you cannot attribute motive to the member for what he says in the House or how he voted in the House. So if anybody does that, whether it is a member or whether it is an outsider, he will be committing a breach of privilege. That is the main thing in this. So all are equal in the House. An ordinary member and also the Prime Minister all have the privileges, all have the freedom to speak in the House. But whether it is the Prime Minister or anybody else attacks or abuses a member for making a speech in the House or giving a vote in the House, certainly he will be committing a breach of privilege. And the Speaker normally, if there is a breach of privilege, Speaker will examine it first, and he will decide whether it should be referred to a committee of privileges or not for further examination. Now that the House is not there, the House is adjourned, and therefore the Speaker has to take a decision on whether he should refer it to the Committee of Privileges for examination. But that happens only when the Speaker is convinced that there is a merit in the notice of breach of privilege. That it
No,
is
but
for the
Mr.
Speaker to decide.
Right. You're right that the prerogative is with the Speaker. It's his discretion whether he wants to take it up or not. But as far as the history of the privilege notices is concerned, especially against the Prime Minister, there have been privilege notices against the PMs in the past. There was a privilege notice against Manmohan Singh, against Indira Gandhi. There was one against Prime Minister Modi himself in 2024. But how has it been treated normally when it comes to the Prime Ministers? Has ever the privilege committee ever taken this notice into cognizance? Have the speakers ever taken this into cognizance? Ever?
Well, as far as I remember, there was no occasion when it was allowed. I mean, it was referred to a committee or something. So notices were given. It's okay, but so the Speaker did not go beyond that. The Speaker did not allow it to go beyond that. That is the
No, but
history.
why do you think? No, but why do you think that the speakers have always shied away from taking up privilege notices? We do not know what Om Birla would be doing, but in the past, since you are saying that there is no record of where the speaker has taken up notices, privilege notices against the Prime Minister, is it pressure or is it some other reason? But it seems that the speakers in the past also have shied away.
See, anybody will know that normally the Speaker will not go against the Prime Minister. So that is a thing which is known to everybody. Although many people may not say it openly, but the point is that if there is a notice against the Prime Minister, the Speaker normally doesn't allow it. That's a simple truth.
No, but
Whatever
then
be the
but Mr. Achari, then does it mean, like what you're saying, that speakers normally they don't go against the Prime Minister? So this is a parliamentary tool which is available in the hands of the opposition. They can exercise it. But at the end of the day, it just turns out to be symbolic.
Well, I do not want to make any comment on that, whether it is symbolic or whether it's substantial or but this is something I just answered your question, that is all. You asked me whether there was any occasion when the Prime Ministers notices against the Prime Ministers were allowed by the Speaker. I said no. That has not been done so far. And the reason is very obvious. That's
right. In fact, I'll come to you about that. If at all the privilege committee sits down and assesses this case, what could be what could be the extreme step? What could be the action taken? We'll come to that later. But I'll come to Mr. Sarma now. Mr. Sarma, you were also one of the signatories who signed that letter which is sent to the Election Commission. In the past also, you've written many, many letters to the Election Commission, to which on record in many of your interviews with us, you've told that the Election Commission has not been responding to any of your letters. But the recent case of the address to the nation, why do you think that the Election Commission has not taken action?
See, first of all, let me say that Mr. Acharya is an authority on parliamentary rules and regulations. So he's the best person to comment on that. Now, I have I have worked with Mr. Vajpayee, Mr. Gujral, Mr. Devgowda, and others. And I have also interacted very closely with a great speaker like Somnath Chatterjee. I had the fortune of interacting with him. Only thing I would like to say is, if Mr. Somnath Chatterjee were to be here today, things would have been different. More than that, I would not like to comment. Now, the parliament, for whatever it is worth, there was a discussion, there's a bill, there was a discussion, and they came to a decision. The bill did not go through. Now, the convention, not the rule or regulation, the convention is a member cannot go outside the parliament and criticize people more or less individually against parties on that. This is a convention. And this convention has been there for the last 7 decades. So basically what's happening is, these days it has become very commonplace to find hate speeches, venomous speeches, poisonous speeches. It was never the case in the past. Now, if you look at PM's speech, you may find fault with many statements of his, opposition may not be happy. But to my mind, what the PM did not say is much more important than what he said. What he did not say, let me point out. See, for example, when you talk of the bill is a very complex bill. They linked women's reservation with delimitation. It's a very strange combination. Now, the delimitation part of it is based on 1971 census. And it has been extended from time to time through constitutional amendment bills. Because the pro rata, they did not want to change, upset the balance. If you do that, then the South, many southern states and some other states will lose. So this is a convention, this has been going on. So 1971 census is the basis for delimitation. Whereas, in the case of women's reservation, even though it looks very simple, some 30% reservation and all that, we should not forget that the Constitution of India requires any representative institution to be truly representative of this social pattern of the country. Scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, OBCs, representation. You cannot avoid that. So even on this 30%, strictly speaking, there should be a representation for these classes, which is very, very important. Now, when the PM spoke, one could ask, in fact, my wife asked me, what is this 30%? Why not 50%? After all, it's a population, women are 50%. And I can tell you in many panchayats, in many states, panchayat institutions have got 50% representation. Now, why not 50%? So in a bill like this, when it's placed before the parliament, there should be a vision. You may not get 50% straight away, but the bill should say over a period of time, we'll reach 50%. It's never said. And the second thing, on the delimitation part of it also, orally they assured many things, but there is a lurking fear among the southern states, I belong to one, that the representation of southern states might go down. So, somewhere, you must very clearly say that and this cannot be orally said. It has to be a constitutional amendment bill where you extend the 1971 census basis. That should be done very clearly. It has not been done. And, when you question, when the Prime Minister is talking of empowering women, BJP is the champion for women and all that, in all fairness, the Prime Minister should have, recalled the history of that. The 69th Amendment Bill during Rajiv Gandhi's time, 1989, was the first one when, they wanted to give reservation for women in Panchayat Raj institutions and all. It was passed by the Lok Sabha, but the Rajya Sabha, it did not. It failed. Later, through 73rd and 74th Amendment bills, in the Panchayat Raj and municipal bodies, they provided for women's reservation 1/3. So this is all the history of this. It's not as though one political party has done this. All political parties are involved.
No, but Mrs. Sarkar, the demands which you have put out in the letter, which all of you have written and sent it to the Election Commission, and it also points out to the misuse of resources, how it has been misused, whether it is the public broadcasters platform or the time which has been given to the Prime Minister in the middle of a model code of conduct. Why not the same time to the political parties in the opposition? These are all very valid questions. But do you think the Election Commission will take into consideration all these points? There are 6, 7 points which you have mentioned, and I read it out also. How hopeful are you that the Election Commission will take up these points?
See, the problem is that as far as model code of conduct violation is concerned, it's a narrow subject. So the authority which is supposed to act on that is the Election Commission of India. Now, the political parties, opposition political parties, did not approach the Election Commission of India because they already expressed their lack of trust in the integrity of the Election Commission. So, in fact, that's why they're going to the Parliament with a motion, breach of privilege and all that. So, as citizens, we thought we will place our objections to that, and we have written to the Election Commission of India. That's a narrow kind of a thing. Now, whether the Election Commission of India would do anything or this not, my personal experience in the last 20 years, some election commissioners used to respond. They used to do something. But in the last few years, the present election commission, somehow the response has not been very meaningful at all. So I don't know whether they will take action. But if I were there as the chief election commissioner, I would respond to that. After all, election commission is a constitutional authority accountable to the people of India, not to the political parties. So that is very, very important. So MCC is one aspect of that. The letter we signed is a narrow kind of a thing. Now, the breach of privilege, the privilege motion is entirely different, a different thing. Whether a prime minister can go out and then use the state media, state resources, and then use that occasion to criticize what the parliament opposition did. And then also, he used words like feticide. The word feticide of the idea of empowering women, which I thought was not in good taste. It's certainly not becoming of a prime minister to say that, in my view. And I think he's ill-advised.
No, but Mr. Sarma, I'm really wanting to ask you honestly that if words like, feticide, prick the conscience of you, or for that matter, any other political party or the citizens who've written the letter to the Election Commission, why don't these letters really prick the Election Commission?
Beg your pardon?
I'm saying that like the word feticide pricks you, it pricks several citizens who've written the letter to the Election Commission. Why do you think that the Election Commission remains so immune to all this?
I hope they will not be immune. I hope 700 people, many of us writing to the Election Commission of India, the politicians, eminent people, many citizens and all that, I hope the Election Commission responds. I'm a great optimist.
Mr. Sarma,
I'm a great optimist in this.
No, it's good to be optimist and it's good to remain hopeful. But we've also seen the reality in the past that whenever citizens from the Constitutional Conduct Group have written any letter on a particular issue, there is always a counter coming from a set of bureaucrats and lawyers and activists who always peddle the government's side. Now, what if this kind of a scenario is repeated here as well?
In fact, I'm waiting for the 700 counter signatures on this. It has not yet come. I don't know. But if the Election Commission does not respond to a letter, and if the Election Commission does not pronounce a speaking order, as they call it, the reasons, then the public trust in the Election Commission will come down. So this is, in fact, I'm saying this, I hope the Election Commission, 3 election commissioners will listen to this interview. The public trust, ultimately, the credibility of the Election Commission of India depends on public trust. The public should repose trust in it. And if the trust comes down, its effectiveness will come down. So I hope they will respond to this. This is very, very important. And, I must also tell you one more thing, Neelaji.
Yes.
When you talk of women empowerment, I can turn back and say, I can ask the Prime Minister, look, 2014 elections, 2019 elections, 2024 elections, BJP, how many women candidates they really put up? Women candidates whom they gave tickets. I calculated. In 2014 election, the BJP, the total number of candidates, if you take BJP, and the women candidates, it's only 8.87%. If you're so keen on empowering women. 2019, it went up slightly, 12.65%. And 2024, 16%. That's all. So when you're talking of 30% women empowerment, what did you do? Now, the second important question, which not many people have discussed, see, when you look at the Association for Democratic Reforms statistics, I find that, incidentally, when I said even UP, I took the UP thing, how many BJP candidates, the same position, the percentage is very low, women candidates. And I believe in Bihar, the latest election, not a single woman candidate, BJP candidate. Now, when you come to Association for Democratic Reforms data, the candidates file affidavits, and these are all self-admitted statements. So there are how many people against whom the candidates, there are cases of crime against women. The number is quite large. In the case of BJP, it is 54. So 54 people who have become legislators by their own statements, they committed there are cases against them for committing crimes against women. Among them, at least there are 5 against whom there are cases of rape. Now, when you're talking of women's empowerment, the Prime Minister, how will you answer this? After all, you are heading the party, you are everything in the party. So how can you explain this? So these are all important questions in my view. If you really want to empower women, some of these issues are extremely important. They have not done that. So my point is, I was very surprised in a major constitutional amendment bill, which mixes delimitation and women's reservation. There is no public discussion at all. I am a citizen. I would like to discuss it. When you increase the number of members of parliament to 800 and not, I bear the expenditure. I am a taxpayer. I bear the expenditure. One of my friends just now telephoned me, and he said, I got this one nation, one election bill for my comments. Why is it so selected? Selected group only get it? See, in my view, this particular constitutional amendment bill should be before every panchayat in the country. Everybody should discuss this. This is an extremely important bill. There is no public discussion at all. This is undemocratic in my view, the way they have introduced. And what is the great hurry? What is the great hurry? A special session while the assembly elections are going on.
Yes, and exactly that's the reason why the bill has just fallen flat. The government couldn't muster the 2/3 majority. But coming back again to the privilege notice, and then I'll take the concluding comments from Mr. Sarma. Mr. Achari, now, if at all the speaker takes cognizance of this privilege notice, if there is a big if in it, but if it does, what is the extent to which the punitive action can be? Is it a warning? Is it a censure? Is it expulsion? There are various provisions which I checked were there, but how does it pan out if at all the privilege committee meets?
I think there is some problem with your audio today because your voice is breaking. I'm not getting the what you are actually saying.
No,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I was asking you that if at all the privilege committee meets and the speaker takes cognizance, what is the kind of punitive action which is always taken? Censure, a warning, expulsion? What is it?
See, it is actually too early to say all that because the notice has been given and the speaker has to examine it and see whether there is any merit in it. And after that, the speaker has to decide whether he should send it to the committee. Of course, he can send it to the committee only when the speaker is convinced that there is merit in it. Otherwise, he won't. He will summarily reject it. So if it goes to the committee, then the committee will have to examine these speeches which he has made. And then they have to decide whether this is actually bringing the members down in the esteem of the public. It's a scurrilous kind of attack on the members. All that kind of thing, These are all things which come when you consider the question of breach of privilege. But I don't think that stage will be reached in this case because at the threshold itself, it may be rejected. That is my hunch. So about your question about punishment, etc., there are warnings and reprimand and admonitions and things like that. In fact, there's a wide range of punishments possible. If there is a very serious breach of privilege or contempt of the House.
Right.
In fact, a person can be even imprisoned. That is also there. But then, you know, I mean, it will never reach that stage, I think.
Right.
That is.
But in your view, Mr. Achari, does this particular case, what we have seen, how Prime Minister Modi has addressed the nation, and he has attributed motives to the parliamentarians, the speeches which were made by the opposition members, does it qualify for a contempt? Of course, it is to the discretion of the speaker. But in your view, does it qualify for a contempt? Does it qualify for a breach of privilege?
Well, I can say this much, that the speaker will have to seriously examine that particular point.
Okay.
Speaker will have to very seriously examine that particular point. He can't just, dismiss it out of hand, saying that there is no
Right.
merit in it. Because this
All
particular
right.
issue, that the Prime Minister has attributed motive to the members of the opposition. It is not just one member, the entire members in the opposition who have opposed this bill and who voted against this. So that is a very serious question, and that has to be seriously examined by the speaker.
All right. Okay, so I'll take the concluding comments from Mr. Sarma. Privilege notice and also a letter which is sent to the Election Commission. How do you see this situation of how it's being dealt with? And tomorrow we are speaking just one day before when the West Bengal goes to polls tomorrow for the first phase.
See, irrespective of what the Election Commission is going to do or the Honorable Speaker is going to do, I think it's a message to the nation. See, the privilege motion, Venugopal, so I think it's a message to the nation. That's very important. Similarly, the letter written by us, it is being discussed in many channels and all that. I think it's a message that is conveyed to the people. And there should be a public discussion on that. I think you should look at it that way. We cannot, as Mr. Achari has rightly put it, we cannot prejudge what the speaker is going to do, and we cannot criticize. Strictly speaking, what the Honorable Speaker is going to do, we are not in a position to criticize. We cannot prejudge. But the most important thing is it's an important issue. Certainly, it's a very serious issue. And it certainly should cause concern to the people at large, the public at large. I think that is the message.
If the message has been sent loud and clear, now it is up to the speaker, and also a lot of responsibility on the part of Gyanesh Kumar, who is the Chief Election Commissioner, whether he takes cognizance of the letter which has been written by so many citizens. He needs to analyze as to the rules which have been pointed out, the provisions which have been pointed out in the letter, under which it is alleged violation of the Model Code of Conduct. Does Gyanesh Kumar take action, and does the speaker take action? That's a question to which everyone will look forward to, whether we get the answers or not. Thank you so much, Mr. Achari, Mr. Sarma. Thank you very much for joining on the Federal. Thank you.